Today on DC News Now, recovery efforts continue after a cargo ship crashed into the Key Bridge.
These divers have been back in the water for hours now. I can't stress enough the heroism of these folks.
I think we need to remember what is most important, which is the recovery operations. It's really about the loved ones that are still missing family members.
What officials are saying about the tragedy and why Baltimoreans are shaken up.
It was pretty scary to know that I've, been driving on that bridge.
And how Maryland is going to move forward.
My promise to them is this: I will devote every single resource to making sure that you receive closure.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on DC News Now at noon. I'm Mark Hall. Right now, recovery efforts are underway as crews continue to search for 6 missing people after yesterday's bridge collapse in Baltimore. Divers are out there.
We need to remember what is most important, which is the recovery operations.
Divers are out there for the second day in a row. The Coast Guard says 6 people are believed dead, and that collapse happened around 1:30 Tuesday morning when a cargo ship hit one of the bridge's support beams. It left extensive damage and sent several people and vehicles plummeting in the water. Take a look at this video by Google Earth. It shows what the bridge looked like before the tragedy, and on the right side of the screen, the aftermath of the collision. According to the National Park Service, the Francis Scott Key Bridge marked its 47th anniversary just 3 days before the collapse. For now, we want to go out to our Liberty Zabala in Baltimore this afternoon, where the recovery mission is happening. Liberty, the construction workers are presumed dead.
Yes, such a heartbreaking story, Mark, and we got an update from the governor that this will be a long and thorough investigation as they work to figure out how this happened. Right now, no bodies have been recovered at this time. However, divers have been out in the water for hours as they work to recover these 6 missing workers. Now, the company Bronner Builders says a crew of 8 construction workers were on their break sitting in their trucks when the bridge came down. The rescuers were able to pull 2 victims from the water. One of them was treated at the hospital and later released. Now, among the missing were people from Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico, according to diplomats from those countries. Rescue crews had to stop their search from the water and the air last night as they battled low water temperatures, changing currents, and poor visibility in the Patapsco River below. The water is also estimated to be about 50 feet deep.
I can't stress enough the heroism of these folks. They are in frigid conditions. They are down there in darkness where they can literally see about a foot in front of them. They are trying to navigate mangled metal, and they're also in a place that it is now presumed that people have lost their lives.
And the governor says that the priority right now is on the recovery efforts and making sure that the families of these 6 victims have the support and the closure they need. For now, live here in Baltimore, Liberty Zabala, DC News Now.
All right, Liberty, thank you. We are learning more about the 6 construction workers that were on the bridge when the collapse happened. U.S. Coast Guard has presumed them dead at this time. And now the focus is on finding the bodies to help bring these families closure. Our reporter, Yamari Sase, is live. And Yamari, what more do we know about these men?
Yeah, so as of right now, we definitely know that these men were loved by family members, by the community. Now, we do know that these construction workers left home to come to work to earn money for their loved ones, not even just here, but also overseas. And 6 of them did not make it back. Now, according to the Washington Post, one of them was a 35-year-old from El Salvador. He was a husband, he was a father of 3, and lived in Maryland for almost 20 years. Now, according to them, they also say that he worked for the construction company Bronner Builders for nearly 15 years. Now, 2 of the other victims was a 26-year-old and a 35-year-old from Guatemala. Now, a co-worker tells us that some of them were related to each other, And now these men were on that bridge working to fix potholes before the collapse took place. Some of them were actually sitting in their cars taking a break when this tragic incident took place. Now, this is just a tragic loss for the entire community. Although there were 2 survivors at this moment, many are just heartbroken by the entire situation. Today, we spoke with Governor Wes Moore and asked him how is he supporting the families and the community at this moment. And he says that he's going to do everything.
We can only imagine what is going through their minds and through their hearts and through their bodies. None of us want to experience that. We have to lift them up, support them, not just today, not just tomorrow, but for the foreseeable future.
We're expressing our sympathy and that we're sorry for what happened, and of course offering all the services at our hands. We are here to support. The signal is you guys are not alone. That's what we're here.
Yeah, so as you know, 2 people did survive this incident. One of them did refuse medical leave. The other was released from the hospital yesterday. Now, Governor Wes Moore says this was just a miraculous situation for these survivors, and he plans to honor all of the victims as they rebuild this bridge. For now, reporting live in Baltimore, Maryland, I'm Yamaru Sase, DC News Now.
Yamarie, thank you. Plans to repair the Key Bridge are underway. Many state and federal leaders are teaming up to take action as quick as possible. The White House says the federal government will pay for the entire cost of rebuilding the bridge. However, his pledge would require approval of Congress. Several Maryland delegates say they will help make it happen. Both state and federal leaders echoing the plan to reopen the Port of Baltimore.
We're going to send all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency. And I mean all the federal resources. And we're going to rebuild that port together.
Is a team effort, and we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to protect our economy and protect the people of our state.
That was Maryland Senator Ben Cardin, and leaders from other states are also pitching in as well. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin and D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser pledged to offer resources too. Well, the Key Bridge collapse raising many questions about what's next for the national supply chain. However, the Port of Baltimore is also used by several cruise lines, and Carnival Cruise Line says it will temporarily move its cruises from Baltimore to Norfolk, and the company's next cruise will be on the Carnival Legend. They expect it to launch this Sunday and operate to and from Norfolk. The number of cruises Carnival launches from Virginia will depend on when the Port of Baltimore can reopen. And the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line also releasing a statement. It says in part that the company is monitoring the situation and working on alternatives for one of its ships. According to the company website, that ship is called the Vision of the Seas and launches from Baltimore. And we'll be following this story all day. For round-the-clock coverage on the Key Bridge collapse and its impacts, visit our website, dcnewsnow.com. All right, meteorologist Damon Madsen joins us now with the latest check on the forecast. And Damon, of course, you know, we still have to forget, we can't forget the good people up there in Baltimore and the impact of what has taken place. But how are the weather conditions up there and also down here?
Yeah, unfortunately, Mark, we're dealing with some unsettled weather across the entire area today as a storm system is crossing its way through. It's nothing significant, but it certainly is going to probably slow things down, especially when it comes to what's going on with the recovery efforts there in Baltimore. There's a look at it here. Rainfall has been common since last night. We saw more of that soggy weather off to western portions of the DMV during the overnight hours, but now this rainfall has concentrated across the eastern half of the DMV, where we have on and off steady rainfall taking place up and down the I-95 corridor from Fredericksburg through DC all the way up to Baltimore at this hour. Now zooming down closer to the DC Metro, there you have it here. Some darker greens stretching from Potomac down into DC up to Silver Spring and even back over toward Forestville here. These pockets of yellow indicating, again, that brief bit of steadier rain we're getting ever so often here on this Wednesday. And some of that steadier rainfall was just along I-95 from Springfield down to Woodbridge and Dale City, stretching into Stafford and Fredericksburg as well. But some of those pockets of steadier rain have now crossed the Potomac River over into portions of Charles County, as southern Maryland is set to see a good bit of rainfall here moving into the afternoon. Now, located locations to the west, I'm talking Hagerstown, back over toward Martinsburg and down over into Winchester as well. You're still going to see some occasional scattered showers off to the east, closer to D.C. Some of those locations I just mentioned along and east of I-95. You'll also see rain showers along with some steadier pockets of rain here and there. Now, as we head on toward the evening, it looks like we'll catch a brief lull. But we're not done with this storm system yet. As we head into the night, when should we expect another wave of steadier rain to roll into the DMV? We'll have a look at that and more coming up in your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Developing now gas leak now under control after forcing several buildings to evacuate last night. That's according to D.C. fire officials. Crews responded to the leak near the Walmart on Georgia Avenue Northwest around 7 p.m. They took meter readings and worked to isolate the leaks until readings returned to normal around 10 o'clock. Now, there's no word on what caused the leak. Well, D.C. police arresting a 17-year-old in connection to a deadly double shooting in January. They say the suspect shot at two people in a vehicle on Minnesota Avenue Northeast. Police say one of the people in the car died. The suspect is being charged as an adult. Well, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed two gun bills pushed by Democrats. One bill would have banned the possession and selling of certain assault firearms and people under 21 from owning one. Another bill would have given guidance to judges on taking away guns under the state's red flag law. However, Governor Youngkin passed two other gun-related proposals. Those bills ban auto sears, a device that shoots more than one shot without reloading. The other will charge gun owners for allowing a child to have access to a gun.